All right, we are live 1 minute late. I think this is the first time I've ever started the show not at 9 a.m. on the dot, but that's okay. We'll go to 10:01 for you guys today. It's total bases. It's Tuesday morning. It's $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. This is your one-stop shop for all Major League Baseball free picks. We go for an hour, and we go heavily based off of what goes on in the chat. So we're going to try to get to all your questions. We got a full slate. 15 Major League Baseball games today to get to. Hope everyone had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. We finally had 1 day of sun here yesterday in central New York, so that was nice. But we're going to get right into it. We've been going back and forth on this game off air for the last 5 minutes. It's actually probably why we're a minute late today. So we're going to get right into it. Red Sox, Brewers. The panel has some general opinions here just on these two teams. And I would say this is a pretty big game. They're all big games, or none of them are big games at this point in May. Maybe that's what we're getting at. Red Sox, Brewers. I'll go to Bryan, Leonard. Do you have a opinion here?
Well, they announced Richard Fitz as the starter.
So I think that's obviously very important. It could be Criswell or Winkowski. I saw both of their name thrown around. I'm hoping it's Cooper Criswell. Right now, I'm operating under the assumption that it's Criswell. If it is, I'll probably have a play.
Well, I was hoping it would be Richard Fitz because I like him. He's coming back from injury, strained pectoral, but he looked really good in his earlier starts, and he was really good in spring training. So I can't really say much about it without knowing who's going to pitch, although Aaron Savali's back for Milwaukee, and that's usually a guy we tend to look to fade for the most part, depending on what the line is. But he's a guy he's been an innings eater, but he comes in, he just had 2 starts, 9-run ERA, 1.57 whip, 7.48 expected ERA, but he was hurt. His average exit velocity has been very good, but the rest of his numbers have been bad. But it's in a small sample size. And last year, 4.36 ERA, 1.30 whip. He's just, even when he was in Cleveland, he always seemed to underperform what he has done. As an Indians Guardians fan, I didn't have any problem with them trading him. And I think the Milwaukee fans probably feel the same way. Milwaukee's got a lot of good starters, got a lot of good young starters, which were what we were talking about coming into the show today. But without knowing who's going to pitch for Boston, I'll be sitting this one out.
Yeah, they have a lot of young starters that they're not going to use. So good luck to Milwaukee.
But they will use them.
Okay, we'll see. When was their last World Series? We'll see. But anyway, 2 bullpens that are performing poorly right now, and Boston's lineup is heating up. Milwaukee's actually a slightly above average at the moment. So if anything, I'd go over, but really we don't know who the pitchers are going to be. So can't really play it with serious money at this point.
So we know who the Brewers pitcher is going to be. That's going to be Aaron Savali. We know the Brewers have had some bullpen usage over the last couple days. So I want to play against the Brewers here. Yes, I would like to know who Boston's pitcher is. I would prefer Cooper Criswell, who's been throwing the ball fantastic for Worcester. He's not coming off of an injury. So I know that the reason I'd prefer him is it would be his turn up in the rotation. And he's thrown it excellent down at AAA. Now, they could go opener. You might see the Red Sox go opener and then put Criswell behind the opener. That's a possibility. Either way, I think you can get the Red Sox right now even money. I'm with Bryan. I don't like to lock something in until I have a good idea of what they're going to do with the pitching. So I will wait till it's announced because I also don't think it's going to make more than a 10-cent difference once it is announced. I said yesterday on the show that I wanted to find a spot to bet the Red Sox in this series. I think this is going to be the spot. So I'm going to hold off on making it the parlay leg, but I'm thinking about it. And I almost anything the Red Sox could do with pitching right here sort of makes sense to still try to fade the Brewers in this spot. So again, let's see how the show goes. See if we get an announced pitcher. But from my digging on Twitter, it sounds like it's Criswell or Winkowski. So those are the 2 names, and I'd far prefer Criswell over Winkowski just on my own rating. So I do like the Red Sox, but is a little bit of a wait and see until we get something announced. Listen, Sean, shout out to you. I had the Giants yesterday, as a big play. I don't think I was wrong about Birdsong. He pitched well. He was fine. Kind of just the Giants just didn't get the big hit. They had their chances. But really this goes, and we'll go into this game. But I wanted to give you props on that great call on the Tigers. And this is kind of what I keep coming back to with the Tigers, and why the rest of my Memorial Day, I was just kicking myself, because the Tigers are such a good team that they win games like that. They do all the little things that it takes to win games. And I really thought, so where I was wrong, I thought the Giants would have got to Kiter Montero. He's a guy that I want to play against. I don't really think he's really a big league caliber pitcher at this point. Everything else about the Tigers I like. They made all the plays. They get themselves into a 3-1 game. Hinch knows how to push all the right buttons. Vest comes in, hammers it home. Never a doubt, right? It's just what the Tigers have been doing all season. Got to be honest, though, today, the other guy kind of I'm okay playing against in this Tigers rotation's Flaherty. And you do get Logan Webb here for the Giants. So we'll go to Bryan Leonard. Any interest in going against the red-hot Tigers today in Detroit?
Yeah, let me just touch on Sean. Congratulations on the win, no doubt about it. You were the one guy in the line in the
on
group
and on
liked him. But one part of your analysis was they hit 3 home runs off of Birdsong last time they faced him. Well, Birdsong did not give up a single home run yesterday. They didn't lose because of Birdsong. They lost because they didn't hit. But your analysis wasn't totally all the way there. Your final win was there. You got the win, no doubt about it. But there's different ways to win a game, and Birdsong didn't pitch that bad. It was just like you were saying, Montero pitched over his head, and hey, good for you. You got that win. I didn't have anything on that game. I ended up my 5% was the over in the Baltimore game, and we got 7 in the first 5. So I won that. But
by the top of the 5th, Brian. By the top of the
5th. I'm sitting there the whole time thinking I'm going to lose that, and then they come up with the big inning. So they scored 3 in the bottom of the 4th, I believe, and then they scored 2 in the 5th. So we won. I'm happy we won, but did we deserve to win? Maybe not. You never know.
Oh, you had the first 5, Brian?
What's that?
Did you have the first 5 in that Orioles game?
First 5, yeah. That was my 5% play.
Shout out to you. I want, because I used the full game for the parlay, and we're sitting there with 7 runs in the top of the 5th, and it doesn't go over 9, which was frustrating. But I'm glad you had the first 5 for a 5% win. So shout out to you.
Okay, so now we're looking at the Detroit game. Let me find it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem at all.
Adam goes first.
I just wanted to, congratulate him and nice job.
Yep.
Logan Webb is coming off a horrendous start, which means I want to bet on Logan Webb. The guy's been terrific. He's got 2.67 ERA, expected ERA 2.98, 1.20 WHIP, a little bit high, but his numbers are very good, like they always are. And he's one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball. He rarely gets hurt, and he's coming off of a bad start, and that's something I want to take a look at. Although Jack Flaherty pitches much better in this stadium. This is the perfect stadium for Jack Flaherty pitching at home. It's not a home run ballpark. He's a guy that's only in the 25th percentile in ground ball rate, so he gives up a lot of fly balls. He works very well here. It's sort of like Kansas City for a lot of reasons, although Kansas City last year, I believe, gave up some home runs. But normally, that's a ballpark that you could get guys in there that and they do have a couple guys in their starting rotation that are fly ball pitchers. You like to play on them at home, and when they go on the road, you have to take a second look. But Flaherty's been okay, 4.39 ERA, expected ERA 4.12, WHIP 1.18. I like both the pitchers in this stadium. That said, the total is 7, and it opened 7. I'm seeing 7.5. I would say the under. If you get a 7.5, I'm seeing some minus 118s, 120s. That may not be a bad play, is to play the under here between these two. But I don't see enough right now. I would have liked San Francisco to be the dog. They're the slight favorite, so I'll be passing on this one.
Yeah, we got 2 good pitchers, like everyone's saying in the comments. Jack Flaherty is pretty good at home in Kramerica Industries ballpark. Logan Webb, I have him ranked number 9 out of 250 starting pitchers. Road, home, really doesn't matter. He's a great pitcher. Neither one of these teams are hitting very well right now. I have both of them ranked 20 or lower. So I would expect this game to be pretty tight coming out of the 5th inning. But the bullpen is a huge discrepancy between these two. San Francisco's bullpen is much better than Detroit's. At least they're performing much better right now. And I think Logan Webb's a better pitcher. I think in the end, San Francisco could come away with it, but it will be tight. It should be a tight game. This is not going to be one of those 9-6, 9-0 kind of games. This is going to be a tight one probably. But yeah, looking forward to it. We definitely should see some good pitching, especially on the San Francisco side.
Agree with you in the respect that I have Webb rated a little bit higher than Flaherty. So I certainly, like Webb as far as like if I'm looking at the starting pitchers. I'll disagree with the fact that the Giants bullpen is just that much better than the Tigers. I've talked about this before. I think the Tigers bullpen numbers get watered down based on how they sort of use pitching. So for example, 2-3 times a week, sometimes twice a week, they're going opener. And so that bulk innings guy a lot of times is factored into the bullpen numbers. So I don't think it's like fair to really like judge the Tigers bullpen based on their overall numbers because they do the opener things and they'll start Holt in or someone like that. They have a lot more that's actually factored in as far as bullpen innings. I think if you look at high leverage relief for the Tigers, Vest, the way Hinch mixes and matches at the end of games, the Tigers bullpen's right up there with the elite bullpens in the league. That being said, the Giants have an elite bullpen as well, pretty much top 5 across the board, Major League Baseball. Tempted to come back with the Giants. The price isn't as good as yesterday. Yesterday, I got Birdsong at even money. That was more appealing than like Webb at -120. And again, the Tigers seem to get me every time I play against them. So becoming less inclined to play against the Tigers, though I do think there is edges here for the Giants. So that's, and again, sorry for interrupting you, Brian, but I wanted to make sure people knew that you got the win with your 5%er on that over, that it was the first 5 over. So congratulations to you. My 5% yesterday was unfortunately the Giants, and I took the L there, though I did get the deuce on Bears in Korea this morning. So we're back on track. All right, let's go back to the chat. Let's find a game. Vegas Rob brings up the Marlins. Fortunately for us, I blew the parlay early, and it did not come down to Tokyo Brandon's leg, because that would have been like a devastating way to lose it. Marlins money line led the majority of that game, and then they lose. I think that went to extras. Did they lose it in extras?
10th inning, yeah. Or was it the 11th? Maybe it was the 11th, but yeah, it was extras.
When I went to bed, they were in the lead. And then I woke up to, so they must have, so they gave up a run in the 8th, and then they got walked off in the 11th. I got to be honest, they're intriguing again today. I think the Marlins show some value today. We've got Max Meyer on the mound, Stephen Kolek for the Padres. Brian Leonard's like Max Meyer all year. Are you getting involved with him here?
Yeah, it worked out well yesterday, as I liked Weathers. I love Weathers. I think Weathers is right now the most underappreciated starter in Major League Baseball. Pitched great, and we had him in the first half, and that was a nice one. Unfortunately, the Miami bullpen, like a lot of these bad teams, I don't know if Miami's bad, but
they're bad.
Well, the White. If you're going to play the White Sox like we did yesterday, you play them in the first 5. The starters are great. The bullpen's not very good. It's just a lot of common sense stuff there. But a lot of these teams, and we said this before, but they don't put a lot of money into their team. The least amount of their team they put the money in is the bullpen. So if you're playing a bad team, you're much better playing them in the first half than the entire game. At least that's my opinion on it. It seems to have worked out over the years. Yeah, Max Meyer has not pitched nearly as well. His last start out wasn't too bad, but he has struggled a little bit, and his numbers are more like they've been for his career now. We've got the good starts out of Meyer earlier in the season. Still prefer him slightly in this game over Kolek. Kolek's numbers have been a little bit better, but San Diego's still struggling to hit. Miami makes a lot of dumb plays, if you ask me. I've watched them defensively. They're not a very good defensive team, especially some of their outfielders just make bad routes. And it's a fundamentals thing in Miami, a lot of that on defense. I came into the night thinking I was going to play Meyer today, but I'm just not getting what I thought would be the value. Miami's coming in. What are we looking at here? 145, 150 dog. I still prefer the Miami side, but I'm likely not to get there.
Yeah, yesterday Miami actually out-hit San Diego 7-5. San Diego won the game, but they only got 5 hits. Their offense is in a major quagmire. Manny got a home run. He had a good game, but this offense overall is just poor. They're performing poorly, but they're much more talented than Miami. So I was on Miami yesterday. Actually, my client play was Miami over 3.5, and they had 3 runs in the second inning. So I was a little disappointed that they went 9 straight innings with 0 runs. That was a little disappointing, especially when they went into overtime or extra innings and couldn't score in both extra innings with a ghost runner. So yeah, kind of annoying. But this is what I get for betting on bad teams, and Miami's a bad team. I mean, they might have good coaching and whatever, but in essence, they're 20-30. They're a bad team. So it serves me right. But actually, looking at the rankings, I have Kolek ranked much, much higher than Meyer. I did like Meyer at the beginning of the season, but he's kind of tailed off a little bit recently. Miami's bullpen and hitting are both ranked higher than San Diego's currently. So do you take the hotter team that's less talented? That's kind of a question. That's what I did yesterday, and I got burned. So I'm not gonna bet this one. If I did, though, I'd go with talent over momentum. So I would probably go with San Diego, but my numbers tell me not to.
TB, that is brutal to not get that over once it goes to extra innings, and you've got multiple cracks with her. Yeah, that's a tough. And I gotta point out, I misread this at first. Vegas Rube. That was he had a $10 8-teamer to win 1,800.
Oh,
that was blown in the final leg by the Marlins.
Ouch. That sucks.
I'm gonna disagree on some levels here. The Marlins, they're not a bad team. They're just not a contender. But like for the if you were to line up all the teams that are non-contenders, I would say the Marlins have probably as much talent as any of those bottom teams. And the other thing about the Marlins is their talent is so young, and we don't know enough about them yet. But they all have so much upside that no one knows what the ceiling is for them. So they're very similar to the A's, where it's like we saw the A's have that stretch April into May where they were playing incredible ball. Now the A's, like, it's young guys that are trying to all figure it out at the same time. They can't win a game. That's what I think you get with the Marlins here. So on a one-off scenario, the Marlins are very appealing as an underdog because the ceiling's high, in my opinion. So if they, like what Bryan is saying is 100% correct. There's still a lot of guys that could probably use more time at AAA. They make defensive mistakes. Not the most polished team by any means, but when they do sort of play to potential, they can win games. And right now, they bounced back nicely in that Angels series, took 2 of 3 from them. I thought they played a great series against the Cubs. They lost 2 of 3 against the Cubs, but that was a really pretty good series. I believe they got blown out once, but a 1-run loss, and they won one of those games. So I think they've been showing like signs of there's a lot of redeeming qualities with this Marlins team. The Padres, since Thursday, have used a lot of high leverage bullpen. And as we talked about last week, once this Padres bullpen starts to really get tired and taxed, they had that really bad run for like a week or so. Once they started, really racking up the leverage innings, that's the spot they're in now. I think they used leverage arms. I know they did in that game I lost on Thursday against the Blue Jays that went to extra innings. 2 of those games with the Braves over the weekend were tough games where they needed to get high leverage outs, and then they played extra innings last night. So I really like the Marlins plus 1.5 here. You get the road team on the run line. The problem is it's about 10 cents sort of too expensive for me. If this got down in the plus 1.5, minus 130, minus 125 range, I definitely have to consider it. It might be our parlay leg either. So just giving you an idea of what I'm looking at for today. I haven't locked anything in yet, but Marlins is another play. I think if I could get a good price on the run line, plus 1.5, I'd have to consider it. All right, let's continue on here. Colin Gregory. I think this might be the first time I've seen Colin in the chat. So if it is, welcome. We appreciate you commenting. As always, very much appreciate the likes and subscribes. Listen, it's $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. We're all going to have plays up for $5. If you know that's something that we do every Tuesday. So check that out on the site. But really, all we need is the likes and subscribes in the comments so we can keep this show going. That's the real currency that we're looking for here from you guys, so we can come out and give this information out every day. I'm going to go to Brian Leonard. Hunter Brown didn't do it for us last week. He played at the Rays. The wind was blowing out, and he was victim of a couple home runs that looked like pop-ups to the outfielders and just blew their way out of the ballpark. So tough one for Hunter Brown, but he's back against an A's team that I just brought up that is very much reeling. Colin Gregory says A's team total under 3.5 with 5+ Ks for Hunter Brown is minus 118. That's interesting. What do you think about this game, and what do you think about that?
Well, the only problem I have with betting on Houston is they've only faced 5 left-handed starters all season long. That's by far the lowest amount in Major League Baseball. And JP Sears is one of those guys, we talk about innings eaters. He's a young innings eater. He's done pretty well. But yeah, the Oakland offense right now just hasn't been the same. It's a team that you get a lot of these young teams that they go on big up and down runs. On the season, he's got a 4-run ERA, 4.15 expected ERA, 1.15 WHIP. That's a pretty good serviceable Major League pitcher. He's very good. Doesn't walk a lot of batters. He's in the 92nd walk rate, but his whiff rate is only in the 8%. In fact, if you take a look at his strikeout minus walk ratio, we're looking at 14.3, which actually isn't bad considering he's not a big whiff guy. So you could see that strikeout percentage go down. The strikeout percentage in the 29th percentile, whiff rate 8th percentile. It should be closer than that. So he's getting a little bit lucky on some of these strikeouts. Hunter Brown, as we've always mentioned, love this guy, and he's coming off that bad start. 2.04 ERA, expected ERA 2.92, still excellent. WHIP 0.91. He's good at everything except for the ground ball rate, and even that's in the 55th percentile. So he's not a bad pitcher at all. I would look to play Houston here. The problem is, do you want to lay that number of the $2 or whatever? I'm kind of in agreement with our poster. The under 3.5 on the team total, if that's what it is right there. Let me take a quick look at that. Make sure we've got the correct number. It's I've seen it 3.5 minus 140 or 2.5.
So he's saying so that looks like a Brian, that looks like a same game parlay type deal.
Same game parlay. Okay.
Yeah, so he's got the 5+ Ks in there.
Yeah, if you can still get 3.5 at minus 140, there's 2 places that have that out right now. It's still early in the morning. 3.5 sounds like a decent deal at minus 140. I would play that one. And out of the plays I've seen so far, that would probably be my strongest. This card is not jumping out at me this morning as it does some days, but if I can get Oakland under 3.5, minus 140, that's not a bad bet.
Okay, I'm going to hijack the comments here and put this one up. Am I going to jinx Hunter Brown again this start? So, did I jinx him last time?
TB, well, I jinxed him last time. I jinxed him last time, not you.
Yeah, but I did heap some praise on him and told everyone that he was my #1 MLB ranked pitcher. He's dropped, but he's still in the top 15. And like Brian said, I do like, elite pitchers bounce back. Crappy pitchers don't bounce back. So he's elite level. Maybe he needs to do it a little longer to be considered, elite, so to speak. But he's performing at an elite level. So if you call that a jinx, so be it. What scares me about Oakland, the Athletics, is they're hitting in the top 10 right now. I got them ranked 10, exactly 10. And JP Sears, his walk to strikeouts ratio is actually better than Hunter Brown's right now. So he's a good pitcher. He's not bad, but my numbers don't really like him. Bullpen, I think the Astros have a huge advantage here. I got Oakland or the A's bullpen second to last in MLB. So hard not to take the Astros here, but I think they were pretty steep price. I think I saw a -1, Astros -1 at -155. So even a -1 is a little steep. But if I'm going to play this, that's probably the way I would go. The A's have some guys who can slug pretty well. I'm not sure if I would take a 3.5 under in that. But I think the Astros -1 would be a good way to go here.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me. I'm just going to point. Ethan Bainbridge says, I like the spot for the A's today. Tempted on their +1.5, which is like right around even money. That I can't really disagree with that. They snapped their very long losing streak on Sunday, which I think is very important here because, again, a lot of young guys kind of, in this losing streak where if you go back to the night before, they choked one away late, they lost in an extra. So they really did need something good to happen. And I do think they maybe build off of getting that win over the Phillies and play better this week. So in that regard, I do think you're getting like value here with the A's. The problem is I'm willing to throw last week's start for Hunter Brown right out the window. I'm not even going to hold that against him because there was 2 balls in that game that the outfielder looked like he was camped under for a fly ball routine out that somehow blew out of the ballpark. Like there was one, the center fielder was like in the mid, like wasn't even at the warning track. He's sitting there waiting for the pop up. This thing just blows out of the ballpark. So again, I'm going to throw that start out for Hunter Brown. I still think he should be at the top of your ratings, TB, and I don't want to bet against him. That being said, I don't disagree with Ethan, thinking there's a little bit of value with the A's, and I'll certainly look for a spot to back the A's this week. I think you're going to have a much better week for the A's than last week and the week before, which was not a very good stretch for them. All right, TS Fox in the chat. Let's go to this game. He likes the Angels under. He might take the Angels on the money line. I'd be a little, I don't know if I like the under here because the Yankees have used some bullpen, but the Angels is certainly intriguing from a value perspective. So we'll go to Bryan Leonard, Yankees, Angels, one of the last games on the board tonight. I think it's Rodon and Anderson, maybe?
Anderson. Yep,
all
Anderson.
Right. Yankees approaching $2 favorite territory. What do we think here?
Well, Yankees are 6-5 on the season versus lefties starters as opposed to 27-15 versus righties. So it's tough to lay that kind of number with the Yankees. The Angels 3-5 versus lefties. They haven't played them very often, but they're pretty similar to what they do against righties. Rondon, every week I say I like Rodon, but I don't want to lay that number, and he continues to win. He's just been terrific for them. He's one of the most consistent starters in baseball this year. Been very impressed with him coming back from the major injuries he's had. He's just been extremely good. Take a look at his numbers on the season. You see a lot of red on his StatCast page. He doesn't have much extension in the 20th percentile, walk rate 29th percentile, but a lot of red out there. 2.88 ERA, 2.85 expected ERA right there, 0.96 whip. And he's a big strikeout guy. His strikeout percentage right now is at 31.0. Even with an elevated walk rate, which is slightly worse than league average. League average is 8.4. He's at 10.1. He's at 8.9 in his career. It still gives you over a 20% strikeout minus walk ratio, which is just fantastic. So you like to play him, but the Yankees have not hit lefties well. They have not won games against lefties very much. So I'm looking at this game here, and I kind of like the under a little bit. At open 9, I'm seeing 9 still under in the in the 115 to 120 range. Anderson's one of those guys that finds ways to keep his team in the game. Talk about innings eaters. Very good. Yeah. I lean at the under in this game. This is something I'm looking to play. Can't play the Yankees in this price range, although, like I said, every time I pass on Rodon doing it, he pitches great. So let's just take this game and look for the under.
Yeah, Tyler Anderson last year or year before, man, he was just going 7 innings, 7 innings. Bad outing, good outing, didn't matter. They were just running him into the ground. He's one of those. I put him in one of those in the Iron Man category. Not sure if he's going quite as deep this season. I think managers are overall being a lot more careful with their starters this season than they have been in past years. Currently, I have the Angels ranked higher than the Yankees as far as hitting is concerned. But take that with a grain of salt because the Yankees are more talented. But, the A's are kind of smashing it right now. But if you look at bullpen and starting pitching, Yankees have huge advantage here. I would like to take them on a -1. If they were coming off a loss, it'd be a great spot. But they're coming off a win. So the price is a little steep. I probably won't take it. If I took anything, maybe, I wouldn't even do a Yankees team total over here because Anderson can come out and look really good sometimes. And he might have a day like that today. These guys are human beings. They get pumped up when they play the Yankees because they know everyone's watching. So, I will stay away from this game. The price is a little steep, but the Yankees would be the only way I would go.
I don't have a ton to add here, so I'm going to use this 60 seconds to add my parlay leg because it's something we already talked about. I know there's going to be a little juice on it, but that's fine when we're doing a 3-teamer. I'm going to use the Marlins +1.5. I see it taking money. It's probably going to be -145, -150 by the time we lock the parlay in, but that's fine. I want to find a way to get some action on Marlins +1.5. I don't think it's going to be something I can play straight at that price, so I'm going to use it for the parlay. So parlay leg number 1 will be Marlins run line +1.5, whatever the price ends up by the end of the show. And we will, we got to, what is today? Tuesday? All right. So we got all week to hit another parlay. Didn't hit yesterday, but the show parlay, if you're new to this show, has been fantastic. I think we're up something like $14 for every dollar placed on it so far. So it's been really good. Didn't hit yesterday, but
I think we're 4-7 or 4-8.
Yeah, and which it doesn't even sound like these are 3-teamers that are all coming out in like the 5 to 6 to 1 range. So
plus
the fact that we've already, so we've been killing it on these parlays, and the first leg for today's parlay is going to be Marlins +1.5. All right, let's go back to the chat. Like I said, I don't really have much to add to that game, so we are going to move on. Shout out Colin Gregory, says he loves the show, appreciates the insight. That's what we're trying to do here. Just give you guys as much info as possible in an hour on the games that you want to hear about. So please like, subscribe, comment, so we can keep pumping this show out Monday through Friday, every day for the entire baseball season. All right, our favorite team.
Let me make a comment there, Adam, real quick. We're probably the only show that doesn't say buy our stuff, and we're probably the only show that lets the commenters determine what we're going to cover. So.
Yeah, I can't promise.
I mentioned our plays one time and we got accused of shilling. So that shows you how much we're.
Yeah, we might not have shows like last Thursday where we give every single thing we were going to sell for a day out for free across the board. But we're going to try to give as much for free as possible. And like I said, all I'll say about today, $5 Tuesday, every Tuesday at WagerTalk. Every handicapper has plays up for just $5. It's a great, if you were ever thinking about buying or trying out the site, Tuesday is the day to do it because everything's $5. So, big discount, and we'll leave it at that. Danzo says White Sox at Mets, first 5 innings under 4.5. One thing we nailed on the show yesterday was the White Sox. Hauser was great again. Bryan Leonard came through with that first 5 that would have hit regardless of how you bet it. And the White Sox did get there with the +1.5 in the end. Kind of choked the game away. I mean, it was a good game, 2-1 final. I'll go back to, I'm going to say the same thing I say every day. Every single day, the White Sox are going to be undervalued for the most part. You're probably going to find line value in the White Sox on a daily basis. The question you have to ask yourself is the day I want to take advantage of that value, because they're not going to win every day, as we know. So I'll kick it over to Bryan Leonard. Are you still seeing value in the White Sox today, or did you get your money yesterday and you're staying away?
Well, I won't be involved with it, but that's the way you have to take a look at it. I gave all the reasons why the Mets would have a letdown after playing all these great teams that they played in the month. I said the only bad team that they had played, and Pittsburgh is a bad team, Tokyo. But they
Yep.
played Pittsburgh and they won 2 out of 3, but they were outscored. Yesterday, they were outplayed for most of the game. They didn't cover the first 5 and were lucky to win that game. And still, I think that may be another letdown situation here. I'm not as high on Cannon as I am on some of the other White Sox pitchers, so that's probably going to keep me away from it. And McGill's been very, very good as a starter for them all year long. The Mets starting rotation has just been fantastic, and a lot of guys that are been middling pitchers, and now they're getting Sean Manaea is starting to pitch down in the minors, so he'll be back in a few weeks here. So they got a bright future for their starters, and I do like their bullpen pretty well. So I like this Mets team. Obviously, they've got a lot of good hitters. But if I had to play it, I would find a way to play Chicago, but I probably won't get there myself.
Yeah, I probably like Cannon more than most of you. I think he's fairly solid. I don't think he's the auto fade, and I don't think the White Sox are the auto fade. I might be more of a White Sox advocate than Adam this season, perhaps. They're hitting a lot better than the Mets currently, and their bullpen is in the lower 1/3. The Mets bullpen is elite, so that's a big difference there. First 5 White Sox, I probably would not mind doing that, depending on the price. After getting burned with Miami though yesterday, I'm just not willing to put money on bad teams or losing teams at the moment. But I don't hate Cannon as much as you guys do.
I don't hate Cannon either. I'm kind of with Bryan. I'm a little unsure on him. David Witt in the comments says, do they bounce more than Adam? I got to figure out. So the reason my screen bounces a little bit is because my camera is attached to my laptop, which is in a holder that needs to hold it better. So when I try to use the laptop keyboard to toggle certain things, because we're trying to grind out info for you on this show, I bounce. So that's great feedback because I didn't realize I was bouncing. But this 2 days in a row where people are like, what is this kid? Like, why is he bouncing up and down? It's because I keep touching my screen. But yeah, I got to get that fixed. Sean Michael says, I'd love to see who Tokyo Brandon's top 5 pitchers are. I think this is something. Didn't you post your starting pitcher rankings like yesterday or the day before?
I do it almost
fluid.
every day. Yeah, I rotate. I post my rotation or my bullpens, hitting rankings, and starting pitchers every so often. Because guys, you have to understand these rankings are not definitive, all-time, never change thing. You have to adapt to be good at this, and the rankings change. They're very fluid. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll even go a step further and say like they're a very small part of like a handicap. Even I mean, I have pitchers rated in certain places. Like for example, we talked about A's Astros. I have Hunter Brown rated very high, but I see reasons to play against him today, even though he obviously he's better than JP Sears. I have him rated higher, but like it's all case by case basis relative to the line, relative to the market. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, I just want to touch on a couple comments. Mike Walker says Marlins over 1.5 team total -120. That's the first half. I wouldn't argue with that. I think that's a pretty good. So he's going up against Kolek, and all they need is 2 runs in the first 5 innings. That's probably a pretty good bet, Mike. Good pointing that out. Also, there's been talk about where are we getting the numbers against lefties, righties, that kind of thing. They're all over the internet. Just go to Fangraphs, go to baseball, go to any baseball site. They always have break it down lefty, righty. So you can get that information from there. Yeah, the internet's a great thing, and that's the same thing as we use. So yeah, you can get the same information that we're getting.
Yeah, just for
It's
sheer
tough to
like
scout before the internet.
yeah, I mean for sheer data, just like for sheer input data, Fangraphs is incredible. Fangraphs and Baseball Savant are like the two that you should be like kind of looking at every day. I think those are the two best just to get info like that and get it quickly. Bullpen
let me throw a point
numbers.
in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, Adam.
No, go ahead. I was done. I was just saying like those are the two sites that like are very easy to get good info from.
And Fangraphs lets you import to Google Sheets. I use Google Sheets, not Excel, but I use Google Sheets, the Excel, and you can do import URL. Shoot, you just open it up and boom, the updated graphs are there. So it's great.
Good stuff. I don't have much to add on the White Sox other than I think their value every day. This just isn't really the spot I want to get involved. And it goes back to kind of what Bryan's saying. I trust Cannon a little bit less than some of the other starters in that rotation. Plus the White Sox have been sort of running good. You wonder if the Mets sort of break out. So to go back to the original question, I'd be a little bit worried about under 4.5 in the first 5 because the Mets, it feels like they're going to have one of those 3-4 run outburst innings. Cannon's the type of guy that could give it up. So again, I just this isn't the day. I'll revisit the White Sox later in the week. Maybe it's the day for Phillies. Jace Hartland in the chat says Phillies are good value, -110 when Ranger Suarez on the mound. I've seen -105, -110. Interesting matchup here. We'll start with Bryan.
I'll agree, and I will make this my part of the parlay today. I will take Philadelphia at home. Current lines, seeing a 104 up to 110, maybe 1.8 would be the consensus. But I would have no problem playing that right now. As we look to fade Spencer Strider until he gets everything settled the way he normally does. Comes in with a 5.79 ERA, 6.41 expected ERA, 1.39 WHIP. He's got the great extension, 88th percentile fastball velocity. We know he's very good at that, but he's struggling. And these guys do when they come off of Tommy John surgery and other arm and shoulder surgeries. It takes them a while to get back to where they want to be. He only pitched 2 games last year, so he hasn't really pitched since 2023, where he threw 186 innings. So he's been away from baseball for quite some time. Not only that, when in his warm-ups to the major leagues, he had a couple setbacks along the way. We're seeing the same thing out of the Brewers pitcher that's been hurt coming off of TJ. So he's coming back soon, but very similar to there. So these are guys we have to take advantage of their names before everybody else realizes that, hey, this isn't the same old Spencer Strider. And to do that with Philadelphia at home, who I think is a better team than Atlanta overall. Philadelphia is going with Suarez. Ranger Suarez has been terrific. And he's a lefty. Atlanta doesn't see as many lefties as they do righties. I like this situation. Both bullpens are in good shape in this one, although the closer situation in Atlanta is something to worry about. They have not looked good closing out games in Atlanta. Philadelphia has got a really good bullpen. They've had their ups and downs, no doubt about it. But I think we get the better bullpen. We get by far the better starter. At this time, the end of the year, Strider will probably be as good or better than Suarez. But to get this price is a bit of a bargain. And I'll save you $5. This is probably going to be my $5 play today. Will be the Phillies at home with Suarez over Strider.
Quick question for both of you before TV goes. Do either of you know who's closing games for the Gwinnett Stripers right now? Who's the Braves AAA team? Because he very well could be the closer sooner than later.
Is it a young guy or a veteran?
Veteran. Old guy, veteran.
McGuff?
No. Way bigger name than that.
Where is that guy?
Don't tell me it's the Cubs Red Sox guy.
It's Craig Kimbrell.
Is it Kimbrell?
Craig Kimbrell.
It's Craig Kimbrell. Craig
Sean
Kimbrell
Michael in the comments called it. Wow.
I didn't even know he
Kimbrell
would sign with anybody.
Craig Kimbrell's been closing games for Gwinnett, or he's been pitching high leverage for Gwinnett all season. The Braves have had issues in that spot, and don't be surprised if he's back out there
This guy.
sooner than later. Go ahead, TB.
He winds up like this.
He's been a
But
great
he'll
pitcher
do
in
it.
his life, but he should have retired probably 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think he's reached his peak. I think he's on the downward trajectory there. Regarding this game, can I make my leg of the parlay the same game but a different bet? Or should
Sure.
I just do something?
Sure.
I mean, it depends. It depends because I think we ran into issues with that last week. So
Okay,
if you're
I
gonna,
won't.
If it's not correlated, I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Oh, that's
Just
right.
tell us
They
what you
can't- they
like.
can't.
And
That's all right. Okay. So, the Phillies, I have them ranked number 5 in batting current form. And I have Atlanta's bullpen ranked 20 in current form. Strider, 2 starts under his belt, but you don't really know what to expect. I don't expect him to be elite I kind of agree with pretty much everything Bryan said there. I don't really trust him. And even if he has a good game, he's probably going to come out early and open it up for that bullpen. So I like the Phillies team total. Amazingly, it was only 3.5. So they're putting the Phillies total out like Strider is in peak form, but he's not. So I think it's a spot we can take advantage of because Philadelphia's lineup is elite. They got Turner and all those guys are just cracking it right now. So, but we can't put that in the same parlay yet. So that's cool.
I just want to clarify. You said that Phillies team total is 3.5. Is that the first half?
No, that's the
that
game.
Can't be right because the game total.
It is right.
No, it's not. Game total is 8.5. It'll be 4 and 4.5 would be
it might be very juiced on one of these like sites like the DraftKings or something.
It's minus 140, but
yeah. It's minus 140. So it's not. So any normal site's not going to have 3.5. It's going to be like 4 minus 110 or something. Yeah. 3.5. So yeah. So TB but it's on what site? On what site are you looking at?
Pinnacle.
Okay, so here's
the thing. In the United States, other than certain people that have a brain.
Yeah, some of these, most of these sites that have that, like DraftKings will have it sometime. It's not really widely available. Like anyone playing at like the majority of books is going to have to like play 4 minus 110. Yeah,
but DraftKings also offers all team totals. Yeah, and it'll be 3.5 at minus 145 or so.
But you would have to have. Value. You would have to have a.
Yep, it's fine. I mean, we're not going to use it because we can't use it in the parlay because Brian's already got Phillies money line. But listen, if you've got if you're watching the show, good, exactly. I just want to read off Craig Kimbrell's numbers in the minors so far this year. 14 appearances. He's got a 1.29 ERA, a 0.86 WHIP, and a 128 batting average again. So. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of a comeback for him, although he is throwing against. Hey,
it's minor.
Some of these guys are.
My question would be, they're minor league, AAA. It's harder to get the information about the pitches than there's a couple sites now that do have AAA this year. I would go back and see if anything has changed, if his pitch usage has changed, his velocities, the just shape of the pitches, that kind of thing. If it hasn't changed from what he did in the majors, I wouldn't expect anything better once he steps up to that area. But sometimes players, there's certain pitches that they don't throw very well, and the team will say, you know what, get rid of that pitch. Let's ignore that one, and we'll use these other ones. And it happens. The Mets have done a lot of that this year.
You know damn well that Braves front office has been watching what's been going on the closer's role, and they're probably like elbowing each other like, when are we going to do it? Because they're going to try to catch lightning in a bottle and be like, okay, like maybe he pulls like a Verlander and reincarnates as like the dominant Craig Kimbrell from like 10 years ago. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if you see him in that role sooner than later. I know. As far as this game's concerned, I'm 100% in line with Bryan. It's something I'm considering for today as well. So I don't need to go into it because I very much agree with Phillies. And I also agree with TB. I think the Phillies score some runs here as well. All right. We're cruising along. This jabroni in the chat says, pretty sure Adam just looks at the card, says, what's your biggest hold your nose bet? And then White Sox 1.5. I'll do it. No, but there is a lesson to be learned there, guys. It's that sometimes to find actual value, you have to dig into some of these teams that are not so much lesser teams, but teams that people are not dying to bet because that's where the books are going to give you the value. I'm not saying you should be betting them every single day, but oftentimes that's where the value is. And if you're trying to win at this over a 6-month stretch, you can't just go out and lay $1.45 every play. You just can't do it. It's very, very hard to do. So you got to find that plus 1.5 that's like even money, or the side that's like plus 105. And that's why you have to sort of dig with some of these teams. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, if you don't make your own lines, just put yourself in the position of the everyday player, sports bettor, and whichever game is the ugliest game on the board, chances are that's the game that's going to have the value. Now, the question you got to make is you have to eliminate if it looks too easy, it is too easy. You don't want to bet that team. but you could bet the opposite team if you can make a case for them. A lot of times you can. I thought the first 5 yesterday for the White Sox was a great handicap. I won. Does not always happen, but I thought that was a great way to break down the game, and it worked out well. If you can't make a case for the bad team, don't play. You just don't. Just because you see value does not mean there is value there. But yeah, if everybody played the best team on the card every day, everybody would be playing Skubal going for the Tigers, Webb going for Arizona. You'd always play the same pitchers and the same guys. And as we saw last time, even with Brown, they don't have their stuff every day.
All right, let's we got about 10 minutes left here. We're still going to need a parlay leg from TB, so we'll get that by the end of the show. Stay tuned as we will, within the next 10 minutes, lock in the show parlay for the day. Duffel Cole says we've got Eovaldi and Francis here in the Lone Star State today. How's the under looking? I saw someone else talking about the under. So back to Bryan Leonard. Kick us off. Rangers, Blue Jays.
All right. Texas and Toronto.
And it's our guy Bowden Francis on the mound for the Jays.
Oh, swell. Well, let's look at the line quickly here. We're looking at Francis against Eovaldi. Eovaldi open 165 plus 140 on the comeback. Some money has come in on Bowden Francis. Not my money. I don't like it when he pitched a little bit better last time out. He's doing better than he did earlier, but I don't want him. Texas Eovaldi has been fantastic all season long. You know what you're going to get out of him. I don't know if he's had a bad start all year long. He's just been very consistent. I prefer the Texas side, but Texas is one of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball. The better way to play this, if you ask me, is to play the Toronto team total under. Let's see what we've got there. Team total in this one. It's 3.5 under 120. Do we trust the Toronto or the Texas bullpen in the late innings? We'll have to see. Let's take a look at the first half team total in this one. We see Toronto 1.5. Okay, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to play under 1.5. I know. TB's had a lot of success doing that kind of thing, but the best play out of this one would be 3.5 under the 3.5 for me on Toronto, and that would be what I would look, because I think Eovaldi's going to have another good day, and I don't trust Francis.
Totally agree. Yesterday in this matchup, I won the first 5 under 4.5, so I was pretty happy about that. Texas started to score, made me a little nervous. I think it ended at 3. But there were a couple situations where there was like second and third base with 1 out and kind of got through it. So with Bowden Francis on the mound, there's no way I'm going to take a first 5 under here. Even though Texas's offense is ranked 27 out of 30 in current form. Blue Jays not much better, 18. Blue Jays bullpen performing well. But Nathan Eovaldi is performing really well. So this is kind of a gridlock for me, so I'm going to stay off it today.
Yeah, I just can't get down with the Rangers at this price. They're a team that I still like. I want to believe in this team. So they have played so poorly, in my opinion. They've hit so poorly, yet they're sitting right there at 3 games under 500. Like 20. The fact that they're 26 and 29 with how awful they've been offensively is actually somewhat impressive. Like they should be worse, in my opinion, but they do kind of find a way to win games. The starting pitching has been good. They just I can't lay a price with them until I see them do something offensively. So that's what keeps me off here. I kind of lean toward Bryan, toward what Bryan was saying. Like if you're going to bet this and you like the Rangers, maybe just find a way to isolate Eovaldi, who's been fantastic. Numbers are insane. He's looked awesome. There's no reason to think that he's not going to continue to do what he's doing. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'd love to play the Rangers at some point, but at this price, it's not doable. Could I see them maybe getting going against Bowden Francis a little bit? Yeah, this is the type of pitcher that I think could get that offense going a little bit. So Rangers are past, but I don't hate Bryan's call on that team total under because I really do like Francis. Another pitcher I like personally, and I'll answer quickly this question and then go to Bryan for this one. Does Joe Ryan have an edge over Taj Bradley today? I would say yes. I've always been a big Joe Ryan guy. When he's healthy, he's a top starter in the American League, in my opinion. So Twins are one I've been giving some consideration today. -115 to -120 range right before we got on the show. Not sure what it is right now, but I do think the Twins have an edge with Joe Ryan on the mound over Taj Bradley. What about you, Bryan?
Here's my only concern in that regard, and you touched on this when Hunter Brown pitched in Tampa. This is a stadium that we know is a minor league stadium, and the wind, the right field is easy to hit home runs in, and it's starting to get warmer there. And that's the one drawback of Joe Ryan is his ground ball percentage is in the 16th percentile. His barrel rate is in the 5th percentile, which means he can get barreled up, and he get barreled up with fly balls. That is my concern on betting Joe Ryan in this ballpark. He's the better pitcher. Taj Bradley's been pretty good, but he's kind of stagnated the last couple of years. I think he's kind of starting to peak. But I like Joe Ryan. I just don't like this ballpark he's pitching in. So I will be sitting this one out.
I like Joe Ryan as well, and I also am not going to be playing this game because Twins are not run producing right now, and Tampa Bay is. Tampa Bay is run producing quite well, but the Twins have a huge bullpen advantage, and they have a huge starting pitching advantage. My rankings have on a curve of 30, Joe Ryan at 3, Taj Bradley at 16, so pretty mediocre for Taj Bradley, and pretty elite for Joe Ryan. But I don't know if the Twins can score on this mediocre starter and mediocre bullpens. So it's gonna look. This to me looks like one of those games where it's going to be like 2-1 or 2-2 coming out of the 5th inning, and then you have to sweat trying to get a win at the end of the game with unreliable bullpens. So I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy to watch last week. Like I said, when we were talking about Hunter Brown, multiple balls that just sort of left the yard that you like off the bat. The batter hung his head on one of them. He was like, didn't get all of that, kind of dipped the head, jogging the first. The thing ends up at 3 rows into the stands. The funny thing is, I thought it would have affected Bradley more. He does give up some fly balls as well. So maybe an over here if the weather is going to cooperate, the forecast cooperates. I don't know where the wind's going. But both of these guys could give up home runs. So maybe this isn't over. Go ahead, Bryan.
Just a couple guys, and I want to shout out a couple guys in the forum. G Hurt, for show merchandise, we need total bases mock with a White Sox jersey with the number on the back being +1.5. I thought that was great. maybe we could get WagerTalk to send us out some jerseys doing that. Also, TS Fox, you guys don't ramble on about nothing or garbage food you eat or man purses, LOL. I wonder who he's talking about.
I wonder.
Nonsense of time. This is important.
No Netflix conversations.
This was refreshing and appreciated. We appreciate that, and that's exactly what we're trying to not do. Is talk about our daughter's chess set. We're on the beach and all this other shit. We're talking baseball.
Exactly. Who are you talking
All
about,
right.
Bryan?
Tokyo. We're right at 10 o'clock. I did say we would go a minute over today because we started a minute late. So I'm going to kick it to you. What are you going to use to close out the total basis show parlay?
I'm going to use it on a strikeout prop. It's going to be Palante over 3.5 strikeouts. I have him getting 5.3 strikeouts here. So I think it's a good bet. Palante over 3.5. It is juiced. It's about -160. So it might move to 4.5 soon if it's juiced to -160. But I think it's a good bet. I think he will easily get 4 strikeouts here. We didn't cover the game though, but
we can cover the game now. We've got a minute. Like we'll close the show with this, and then I'll read off the parlay. So Cardinals, Orioles. TB, why don't you finish talking about this and then go to Bryan because I have a couple thoughts here too, and we'll shut it down with this game.
Okay. Like I said, I think Palante is a pretty good pitcher. I mean, my numbers have him ranked pretty average. I don't think the Cardinals are going to win per se because Sugano's been pitching well. Sugano's not a strikeout guy though. He allows contact, but but the Orioles bullpen is so bad. I really don't know who's going to win the game, but I am pretty confident Palante is going to stay in there for 5 innings and strike out 4 guys. So that's going to be my leg of the parlay. It's -160. It's just a little bit. I wouldn't put it out as a single play, but since we're doing 3-leg parlays,
Yep.
I think
Fine.
I'm allowed to do that. Yeah.
Totally fine.
Bryan?
I'd be more comfortable if he went 6 innings because he's only in the 14.8% strikeout rate, 6th percentile. His whiff rate is better at 22%, but he's not getting the strikeouts. He's more of a ground ball pitcher. He's in the 98th percentile in ground ball rate. So he's a guy that doesn't attempt to strike out a lot of batters, and he keeps it on the low with doesn't give up any fly balls. So that's his job. But this Baltimore team does have a lot of swing and miss in it. So in this situation, I could see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, the Orioles resurgence is something that we kind of, hinted at least starting to hit better and do a little bit more offensively. So the last few days have been good. I have no interest in the Orioles here. I'm not super high on Sagano, and they have used some bullpen. So I can't argue with the strikeout prop though, because as Bryan said, they will swing and miss. And that's, so yeah, I'm not going to really, I have nothing to put you off of that. Not a game that I expect to be involved in. I think actually probably maybe a little bit of value on the Cardinals just because you do have the Orioles. Remember, they played a doubleheader on Saturday. Close games. They've had to sort of hold off wins the last couple days. And once you get past Bautista and Cano in that bullpen, it's not a great bullpen. Like, they don't have a ton of bullpen depth. So for your sake, TB, I hope Palante's cooking. He's out there getting his strikeouts because I do think there's somewhat of a correlation there between that and a Cardinals win. And that's kind of how I see that. I think the Cardinals probably get this one today. All right, I'm going to read off the parlay. TB, you said that was -160 juice. Bryan, can you give me a market juice on Marlins +1.5? Is it up to -150 now?
Marlins +1.5. Let me see what I've got here. Marlins +1.5 is anywhere from -143 to -150.
All right, so we'll call it -145. I saw a few of those. So, and then Phillies, I think, is still like probably -105. I've seen that at a few sites, unless it took money like in the last.
Anywhere from -107. There's a couple 110s. So, all
right, well,
104 to 110. So whatever you want to choose.
All right, so yeah, as always, shop around. It brings the parlay to +425. So I'll read it out. The 3 legs one more time. We have Marlins +1.5. That's my leg. Tokyo Brandon's going to use Palante, the Cardinals starting pitcher tonight. Palante over 3.5 strikeouts. And Bryan Leonard's going Phillies money line. It comes out to +425 for a 3-teamer. That is today's parlay. As always, we will tweet that out. We're kind of due for one. We're not going to hit one of these every day, but haven't hit one since, I think maybe Thursday or Friday of last week. We've got to get this to keep it going. It's been a great bet so far. About 14 times your money if you've bet them since you started. And like I said, hopefully we cash again today. We'll tweet that out. We're over 10 o'clock, so we're done for the day. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Like and subscribe as always. And we'll be back here to talk more baseball with you 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, Monday through Friday. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.